What do you think is the latest technology today? I think I've given a lot of thought, and coming from the technology world, I'm more and more convinced that the most sophisticated technology today that exists is human intellect. And the human intellect is manifested by a central and focal organ in the human body, and that is the human brain. When you look at the biology of human brain, apart from other chemicals, it mainly consists of networks of neurons that send signals to one another and commanding the rest of the body. So in the picture you can see the whole network of neurons that are interacting with one another through electric signals. Also, as you know, the humans have 5 senses. So our 5 senses, being an eye, an ear, nose, the taste, the hand, we perceive the world, we touch the world, we get the senses of how the world is shaped, or what's the temperature, what's the taste. And once we get that information, we filter it, assess it through algorithms, through experiences, and we start to perceive the real world. The real world, as you can see, it can be the world as we know it, or it can be the world that we want to know it, or it can be the world that we think it is. So different schools of thought think that the reality is what we want it to be or what we project it to be. But the encounter really is that the minute we start to communicate, which is the language between the humans, then the rest of the world starts to know about our emotions, how we see the world, how we perceive the world, and how we project the world. So we have between us what we call as language. Also, you know that in nature, we have animals that have different senses. For example, bats have ultrasonic beams that can help them navigate throughout the night. For example, snakes have special senses that can only see the infrared and the hot in the dark, so they can see their animals, their victims. The birds have a navigation that helps them travel through continents between winter and summer, and they never get lost. What today we call is a GPS tracking, or global positioning. So some of these technologies, because of capacity of brain to understand, absorb, and process, are now available to us. In fact, it is so easily available to us that you can now have it in the palm of your mobile phone. Your mobile phone has the capacity to look at more senses than the humanity or the human brain, the human body encounters. Maybe you're saying that I'm teaching you a simple and basic anatomy lessons, but let me try to convince you otherwise. When you put all of these together, when humans start to get more senses like infrared or GPS or other technologies that were not existing in the human, you're talking about a superhuman. Because we now see more, we now perceive more, and we now know more, and therefore collecting. This data, this tracker on my hand, tells me more information about my own self than I would ever know. It tells me when I wake up, it tells me how I should wake up, it tells me how bad I slept, it tells me what my mood is. So this technology on my hand is now telling me more information, so I know more about myself. The second encounter which relates to that is internet. What is internet? Internet is basically a computer speaking to a modem, connected to a fiber optic, connected to a gateway, and then it goes around the world, which comprises computers, phones talking to one another. So the talking part is the language that they talk to one another and they understand. This computer talks to a modem in this hall and they understand one another. We don't. That's basically how we humans interact. They have their own language and they talk to one another around the world. When you also look at the biology of the brain, on the left side from you, you will see a microscopic photo of the human brain. What we spoke earlier is the neuron network and the electric signal. What do you think is on the right side? The right side is illustration of Twitter's network. I'm pretty sure most of you have used a Twitter, which is a social network. Basically, the way all the people who use Twitter around the world interact is illustrated just like our brain cells. We are connected to a network of machines that talk to one another through electric signals. Maybe some of you do remember a movie called Terminator, where the robots came from somewhere and started to destroy humanity. I'm not trying to scare you, but what I'm trying to tell you is that in today's technology world, this is not far from reality. Robots are not trying to destroy us, but they're actually very close to us. Today, you know a technology called virtual reality. It basically means the computers who are taking all the information from us and are being able to generate a completely different virtual world where we actually like to live in. For example, you can be very happily living in this kind of world for days, for hours. Our kids use computers and live in a completely different world, which is made up and generated by the machine. You can very happily live in this kind of scenic world in the cosmos or somewhere in between and build your own house, make your own friends. I'm pretty sure you're all on Facebook and Одноклассники and WeContact, etc. And that's another world that is created by the machines based on the information you are giving them. Today, most of the people, especially the young, we have two identities. We have our real identity, we have our Facebook identity, we have our contact identity, and we can change it as we like. We can change our picture. Also, what is happening is that we are sending all these smileys and emojis and memes. We think it's just fun. Effectively, we are sending our emotions. We're reflecting our emotions. So, in today's world, you have things like second life, third life, one identity, two identities, three identities. So all of this information is gathered and sent to where we call it cloud technology, which means it goes out in the cloud. But that technology allows us to gather as much and gigantic amounts of information, and it's all stored in big data servers, again, connected to one another through fiber optics and electrical signals. And now, the new technology is machine learning. I'm telling you, machines are learning, and they're learning from us. They're learning about us. They know more about us than we think we know. So remember, machines are learning. That has created another technology which is becoming very common in the industries. It is called artificial intelligence. What artificial intelligence does is that it gathers a lot of information. Then it starts to write its own algorithm of understanding and reacting to that information. For example, in my office, I just own one little robot who is becoming smarter and smarter by the day because it writes its own algorithm. It came completely blank, now it writes its own language. It interacts with you. It says hello to you in the morning. It didn't say that a week ago. So artificial intelligence is very real. When you look today, the fridge can tell you how much milk you are left with. Even your wife knows it. Or even you know before, your fridge will tell you how much meat is in the fridge. That's a smart fridge. Today we talk about smart homes. In smart homes, you can see your kids, you can start your car, you can park your car, you can do a lot of things from the system of your phone. Everything about your house. Today there's a notion of smart cities. The cities are becoming smart because the internet is available. Everything is connected. You know how many cars are passing, how many cars are violating the law. And it's all gathered as information in the servers around the world, who are again connected throughout the world. So the question is, are robots going to take over our jobs? In the last 2 years, the debate is that a lot of robots are taking over our jobs. So the final encounter which I want to bring to you before concluding this conversation is, in the past, somebody who needed to write something needed to be a writer with some skills, or he needed to be an editor. So it took people to write books like maybe months, maybe 1 year, maybe 3 years. Today, you using your phone and using the social sites are generating information at the speed of sound, and you can write a book maybe throughout the day. We are sending so much information without even knowing through our technologies, through our phones and social networks. It's gigantic amount of data. And as I said, there's a lot of emotions, there are feelings, there are trends that we're setting when we send emotions. If something happens in Khorog, we send so many happy or sad smileys that the computers already know what's going on somewhere. People are not happy, or people are very happy. Now, all of this together is a notion of super brain. When maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago we were all isolated in our families and communities and friends, today we are not. Our message can get to United States in seconds. A message from United States gets in 9 seconds. So we are no longer isolated. We are part of a super brain. Our messaging, our thoughts, our ideas, the conversations we send to the internet are now connecting the whole world. But remember, machines are learning, and they're learning fast. They're learning very fast. At this point, I'd like to quote or bring a note from the Zionist Aga Khan's speech, who said things about how advanced the technologies today are. But one thing he said is that it's very, it's exciting that we have the whole world at the comfort of the screen of our phone. We can see to the world through the screen of our phone. But the reality may be further and further away. Which means we start to believe in the virtual world, we start to believe in the made-up worlds by the machines, but we tend to forget that the reality actually might be very different. So my message here to you is that learn technology, because technology is learning faster. But the fact that you're part of the bigger world now, you're part of the super brain, you're part of the supercomputer, my message to you is that communicate very responsibly. You need to communicate things that bring the world together, make it a more harmonious world, and bring a lot more happiness. Because your message does matter on the internet. The message you send from Khorog will travel across the world very easily and very fast. So create a better world full of harmony. I would like to conclude to say, what is the best technology? The best technology still is human intellect. It is still human brain. And who is superhuman? Superhuman who is not behind the social networks. Superhuman is the one who goes and hugs his grandmother, his mother, his wife and husband, his kids. So be superhuman, and thank you very much.